You have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, everyone!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe now. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
And we're back. YHS on Monster Island, Jay Key, and there's another. Abigail is with us again.
Third one
this week. The third one, the girl one.
The girl one.
It proudly bears
Abby.
the title of the girl one.
Thank you for joining us, Abby. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, y'all. It was really fun last time I was on, and I've been dying to come back, especially with the subject of Mothra being like at hand. So yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me back to the island. It's been a fun trip.
Yeah, we could not have you on with Mothra. I mean, you are the shoguness of the Shobajin, and we're talking about the Shobajin tonight. So,
yes.
I mean, it would be a disservice to our listeners if you weren't on.
It would be a crime.
Absolutely. So we are going to get to that. Now, we're not talking about Godzilla versus Mothra.
Or Mothra versus Godzilla, my favorite movie of all time.
Or or Rebirth of Mothra. 1, 2, or 3. Or Godzilla King of the Monsters.
So we're not going to talk about any of those.
Not at all. None of them. We're not talking about any other movie that Mothra is in except for the original 61 Mothra. The movie where they tried to make a caterpillar scary.
Mm-hmm.
Did it work?
Mm.
Jay thinks so.
I'm not sure if
awesome.
I do. That cover is awesome.
Thank
I
you.
love that one. I don't know if it's accurate to like the vibe of the movie, but like I still love that.
No, it isn't because it doesn't look. It's not in color. That's for one thing that's different. So yeah.
It should be like Escape from New York or something type of. That's what it gets the vibe from that.
Well,
it's got like a sick horror feel to it.
I have the like Blu-ray steel book that came out a couple years ago, and the cover that they use on that, it's one of the older covers, but they try to make Mothra look mean, like she's got like furrowed, and it's just so silly. I'm like, guys, it's Mothra. Come on.
Yeah, Mothra is like I think that the beauty and the mystique of all of that is what's terrifying, or something like that. It's definitely not like make the eyebrows mean.
Well, and it's not even the worst cover representation or poster representation. Remember the American?
Oh, it's the Thing. It's Godzilla versus the
Thing, and it's like tentacles and stuff. I'm like, what?
I remember when I was when I was a kid and I was too young to realize what I was looking at. I remember being like, what movie, like asking my grandpa, like, I want to watch this movie. Yeah. What is this? Because Abby, I know you don't know. So for when Godzilla fought Mothra, they called it Godzilla versus the Thing. Mm-hmm. And the photo is this artwork of Godzilla. And it says the Thing really big. So they're blocking out what Godzilla's fighting, except for there's tentacles coming out around it and like grabbing it. It looks like he's fighting some crazy space creature or something.
Yeah.
Space Kraken.
And as a kid, I was like, oh my God, I need to find out what this is.
Right.
And I remember my grandpa was like, I don't know. He could, and at one point we realized that it was Mothra. And I was like, this is the stupidest fucking thing.
Mothra doesn't have any fucking
I was
tentacles.
so mad. It made me not like Mothra for a while. I was like, fuck that stupid moth. No tentacles.
Dude. Yeah, that actually is, I can see the confusion there. And I've looked over the Mothra movies, and even with this one, I was like, have I seen this one? Because I did watch a whole bunch of movies, like kaiju movies, like in a row. And this one, I remember I watched it on the small screen that like I keep in my kitchen, and I was doing the dishes, and I remember seeing. I don't want to jump too far into it, but some of the really beautiful, spectacular musical moments from the movie, and like stopping doing the dishes and being like, oh, this is beautiful. I need to finish this. For whatever reason, didn't get to finish it. Plus, didn't get to watch it on the big screen until this week. Nice. So that was like a totally different experience to be able to see the miniatures and like everything up close and big in front of me. So I'm
Well, that brings up a good point, Abby. So like since the last time, so we talked to you in January, like our first show of the year, and I wouldn't say you were just getting into kaiju, but you were still in the nascent phase of your kaiju journey. I'm curious, like, since then, how's it been? Have you found any favorites or any new stuff that you've really like loved, or just, been too busy doing Yes Have Some and Toy Anxiety and all the other stuff you're doing that kaiju is taking a back seat?
Yeah, I would say that I got really swept up into Lord of the Rings recently and like of other things. But when it comes to kaiju, like I was reminded actually at Dragon Con because there were several really nice moth costumes and like Mothra inspired costumes that I saw. And I was like, this is really making me want to watch the movie or get back into that whole world, which you guys are the ones who have gotten me back into it. Like by watching Mothra, it whet my appetite. And I was like, I've watched the first, The Rebirth of Mothra, that movie. And I found that to be a really fantastic. And Jake, I know you said we're not talking about that movie, so I'll try to keep it short.
We can talk about them a little bit. I mean, I specifically let you borrow those movies because I knew you would like the Rebirth of Mothra series. And even though they're not great, the creature designs in all three of them
fantasy elements
is awesome. Yeah.
100%. But yeah, general kaiju stuff, I've kind of been off the grid a little bit. I'd say that. So this is kind of me coming back in. I'm the helicopter circling Infant Island at the beginning of the movie.
I love it.
And that's me.
Flown by the great Kenji Sahara of I think he's appeared in more Godzilla movies than everybody. Has some nice cameo in there.
Yeah.
So,
super cool.
Cool. So we're gonna get back to the Mothra stuff, but we're gonna talk about. So we'll let you go ahead. Abby just basically answered if she's watched anything else. Jay, I know you got some stuff that you've watched. You want to talk about?
Well, yeah, just briefly. I watched went probably like 6 or 7 months ago. Went to rewatched all of Ultraman 66, and I did my top 10 list, which you can find on this channel. I rewatched Ultra 7. I was deep into Return of Ultraman, and I was like, you know what? I want to go back and do a top 10 list for Ultra 7. And I've been rewatching some of my favorite episodes, and I think I like Ultra 7 better than the original Ultraman. I really do. Like I love the original Ultraman, and they're very different. I mean, that's like they are night and day. But I've been rewatching some of these lists, and especially some of the ones directed by the great Akio Jisoji. Like they're dark and atmospheric and stuff, and they are just so cool. And that you can tell there's the underlying horror vibe versus the and sci-fi and horror versus the original Ultraman, which is very fantasy focused, and big kaiju versus, aliens mostly in Ultra 7 or exclusively. So I don't know. I'm excited to finish watching that. And I do think I'm going to do a top 10 list for Ultra 7. So that's been taking up a lot of my free time.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
I've never watched any Ultra 7. So
it's good. I think you would like it.
You make your list and I'll watch those episodes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Something to look forward to down the road.
Yeah. And there's some really I mean, we all know like Ultra Kaiju, there's just so many wacky and crazy designs, and Ultra 7's no different. There's some really cool kaiju designs, but also because it is exclusively aliens that are kind of the main antagonists in all of them, and some of them have servant kaiju and other things like that. There's some really out there designs, and talk about shoestring budget making monsters and aliens on a shoestring budget. I mean, Subaraya. That Ultra 7 is just like the pinnacle of that. I mean, we're talking like cut out paper marionettes, and we're talking something that don't even have, you don't even see the enemy. And you know what? Some of those episodes are the best. So it's really cool. But yeah, you got to check it out. I really think Ultra 7 would really fall within your the realm of what you would like in a tokusatsu show.
I think I probably own some of it. It's just something I haven't gotten around to watch.
It's a fun one. And Abby, it's a great one. Ultraman, maybe even more so while you're washing dishes to put that on the TV. It's great for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I love interesting creature designs, like you're saying, like that, especially on a shoestring budget like that.
Then Ultraman, Ultraman, Ultra Q, that kind of stuff. You'd like. I mean, because I know you've bought a bunch of Ultraman figures, but the Ultraman monsters are the weirdest. Like when they're having to crank one out every single week.
Yeah,
they get so ridiculous.
And building them off of existing suits because it's obviously cheaper that way. I mean, you guys, I know you're big into cosplay, and you just got back from Dragon Con. I guarantee you, some of the cosplay, the costumes that you guys did and other people cost more than some of these Ultra Kaiju. We saw a Mechanicon costume at Dragon Con, which I think might be better than the original Mechanicon costume.
It's probably better, constructed. Yeah.
It's probably much more well constructed for sure.
Right.
I got nothing as far as new watches. I haven't seen anything new to me. I rewatched. I had Godzilla versus Biollante on earlier.
Of course.
Just
Hey,
it's like
Sayara.
hey, it's like my comfort Godzilla movie is Godzilla versus Biollante. Other than that, nothing new. But I know, Jay, I know you got some pickups.
I do. How about you? Do you have any?
I got a few, yeah.
Nice. Do you want me to? Abby, do you have any pickups?
No, I'm just hanging out, watching y'all.
Well,
Show
I'm
me
excited
things.
for the commentary. Do you want me to start?
Cool. Yeah.
I'll start. So
you go ahead. You got a lot.
Yeah, I do have a lot, and it just happened to be like one of those times where like a lot of shipments came in, and when I was doing some sourcing for the store, I just added a few things for me personally on it. And also, there's been a lot of exclusive events that have lined up over the last couple of months. Like, I mean, you had Marathon Summer, Soft Final Summer Festa. You had one of the Treasure Festa onlines. You had Super Fest, which we're talking about today. And then you had some Marathon pop-ups. So it just happened that all of these kind of came in once. At once. So, but I got something unrelated to those pop-ups. I got my non-existent D4 collection that somehow is like growing every week. I did get a little jet here.
Look at him.
Oh, that's a baby.
Like, hey guys. But yes, I'm sticking to it. I have the 4 from Godzilla versus Megalon. 2 of them are in Gigan, which I showed off last show, and Jet. And I have the Weird Eyes 73 D4 Godzilla and Megalon. And then the only other 2 I have was Sarazawa, which is the first one I got. And then I had to get Titanosaurus because I would be a terrible human if I didn't get Titanosaurus. That's it. I've not ordered any more.
All right.
I have one shelf full, and that's
6.
all I can fit.
So you got like 6 of them.
6 a collection makes. I would say that is.
It's a shelf.
That's okay. That's okay. They're gonna next week. They're gonna announce something you're gonna need. I don't know what, but they'll make it happen. Yeah,
they're gonna do a Yamato Takaru.
That would be insane.
It would be pretty awesome. So there was that, and then everything else comes from the good people over in well, I guess that one came from Japan too. But okay, this one is really cool, and this one I think is probably maybe the best of the lot, but I got to show it. So
do it.
For Marathon did Soft Final Summer Festa, and they released a lot of like pink and green marble and pink and black marble stuff. There's Mothra, Biogoji, Hedera, all this cool stuff. So peek under the tent. My one of my big suppliers for Toku Toy Town he's connected with Marathon. I get a lot of stuff, and he actually was able to score me. I'll call it a prototype, but it was a first production run, and they decided to move to a different eye color. And so he says there's only one. Most likely, there's probably 2 or 3 of these left. But I was able to get the green and pink marbled Hedera 450, so the big guy. But with an eye color variant that is not out there available for the public. So here he is.
Whoa.
Look at this guy. And look at the yellow pupiled eyes, which they went away from. But I love it. It's creepier.
What color are the pupils
hot.
on the regular one?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm looking at the back of one over there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No worries.
For the store. But I want to say they're black.
Yeah, I'm looking at black on mine, which is like the red, yellow. It's one that you sent me.
That was a cool one too. Yeah. They just the Hedera, they do lots of really cool stuff. But I love this one. I love the colorway on it, and
Me too.
the pink.
Those 450s are huge.
They're big. Oh yeah, they're huge. But it's a cool piece, and it was kind of neat to have. I don't have a lot of custom. I don't have any customs. That stuff I usually don't go for in any collecting, not just kaiju, but any of my toy collecting. I'm not a big prototype guy. Like I get why people are, and I get why people love customs, and like I want to have a one of one. But really, like that's not something that usually piques my interest. But this guy did, and I actually like the eyes on this better than the actual release. So I stay with it, and I love it, and it's kind of cool. And if Toku Toy Town ever goes away, it'll be kind of a nice little token of like basically my favorite supplier that I work with on that. So, it's a nice, cool piece. The other thing I'll show you before I get to just what will probably be a rapid fire session, and you'll see why in a second.
Can I just say that I loved that Hedera? That was beautiful, dripping with like pink slime.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And they had
that for a while.
It's the Ghostbusters 2 variant.
That's what I'm thinking. I was like, it's a river of slime.
It is. It's mood slime. But they also did the a pink and black marbled version of that as well. Those were the two. And that was like, I know, Jake, last show, I showed off the pink and black Biogoji, the dirty bubble gum. It's what the hetero one was as well. So this was in one of those, again, didn't think I was going to keep it, bought it for the store, saw it, spoke to me, had to keep it. So it's one of those. We're going back to 2007, Marmot, Monster Heaven, King Goji, Godzilla 1962 from King Kong versus Godzilla, a Lucky Bag exclusive. How about some translucent blue-green glitter? With glitter, excuse me. Look at this guy. Absolutely adore him. If you can see me getting up here closer there. This thing is beautiful. Absolutely love it.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I love Marmot. I love Marmot's King Goji sculpt. It's not Saru Jirushi level, but for the old school guys, I love it. And I love this colorway. And it's just enough translucent to where when the light hits it, it's just a different, almost like a different figure. But absolutely adore this guy. And he's really tricky to find these days. He's one that like a year or two ago, I think there were a lot on the secondary market, and I have a hard time finding him. So I said, you know what? I'm going to keep him.
He looks better than he does on screen.
That's true. That is true.
He's good looking. I like him.
And Jake, if you want, I can go ahead and just kind of go through my last group.
Do it, man. Go through.
Okay.
Them.
So everybody knows I collect Marasan, Biogoji. I have I think the pink and black one that I showed off was, I don't know, number 34-ish, 33rd, something like that. Oh, wow. So because of how everything fell, I got, in this last shipment for me, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 new ones. So I have 9 new ones, and I love all my children the same. So I don't know which ones I like better, but I'll go in order of they're sitting next to me here.
I got a favorite out of your new ones.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool. So
I think I do, yeah.
So going off the pink and green marble from Summer Festa, I got the pink and green marble Biogoji. I absolutely love this guy. It's one of those things. I'm glad I don't have to keep on saying I love the sculpt because
we know.
But I love this colorway. It's a cool one, and he looks great. Then after that, there was a Marasan pop-up Kaiju salon shop exclusives. And so this was really cool because these were 100% unique to me. I don't have any double cast. So these are Sofubi items that they double casted in vinyl. They weren't like painted. So it's like they're basically double dipped, right?
Right.
So the one that they released and they hyped up on Instagram, the IG Kamanaga hyped up was this black and green double cast Biogoji. And it's really, really cool. And honestly, it's one of those things where when you see it in real life up close, the subtlety is really the star. And it's very, very awesome looking. And I absolutely adore this. I hope they do more of these double casts because it's so very cool. And like he's another one that when you hit the light hits him, it's almost like a different figure. But I absolutely love this one.
Yeah, I love that.
That's the one.
Peeking through the negative space. Yeah,
it really is. That's a great way to describe it, Abby. And so at that pop-up, if you showed up, there was a secret version. So you could only get it in the pop-up and you weren't notified of it. And it is this kind of double cast the other way, green and black. So it's the same thing, but just double cast the other way. So you could go there and get both of these guys. And they did the exact same thing with Biolante in flower form, in rose form. And so I had those two on my site, but they did both the secret version and then the black and green, the regular version. So really cool stuff. And then the next 6 are, and there's 8, and I was only able to score 6. The other 2 are harder to find.
You'll get them.
Yeah. So this is when you can say, and I totally agree with it. I have a problem. So these, I don't even know if I like them, but I love them. They are definitely the weakest links in the entire collection, but I still like them a lot. And they are exclusive to a store called Tokyo Hands Shibuya. And they are just unpainted blanks. Well, 4 of them are. And so it's a blank yellow. Looks like an eraser. I mean, it's like almost like a Keshi doll.
Jay, I've not seen any of these in person, so I can't. I beg to differ with you, though.
Oh,
I think these look like the colors that these blanks are, they look like Play-Doh to me. And
Yes!
that makes me, I love these blanks.
Makes me want to taste them.
Yeah, the colors look like, they look
do.
like you want to eat them. That looks like Play-Doh to me.
does.
That nice
I
salty.
love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, these are they're forever dubbed. These are the Play-Doh Gojis.
Yeah.
And we have a yellow and a green here. Hey, guess what? Same sculpt, guys. And then I got my, just in time for Halloween.
Pastels.
I got
Ooh,
my,
look at
I got my
that.
orange and black.
Oh,
Orange and black.
yes.
And so this is, those are fine. We collect a lot of blanks in the world of Sotheby collecting,
Mm-hmm.
but where it gets a little crazy is I got these. Now, if you could go buy at this shop, at the store, you could go buy these 4, and there's a secret one that you could buy.
Always a secret one.
Always a secret one that won't come out until December, but I do have that one. It's glow in the dark clear, just so you know. But they also will do an official paint on the application on these, which is very subtle, but you can only get it at the store. And I was able to get 2 of them with this custom paint, and it's not a lot. It's very subtle. So here's the yellow with a little spray of green. But once again,
you can see it.
officially bagged and headered and everything. And then here's the green with the gold. And so my guess, I've seen no pictures of the black and the orange, but I'm guessing those 2 might be rotated in where it's green or orange with black and black with orange.
Yeah.
But yeah, love that guy.
Fun little St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. So yeah, I know.
That
It's all
99.
about you gotta have one for every holiday. So
Yes.
Do
you have a fireplace mantle? Because that's what I would be alternating them and then decorating around that.
I do, and that
That's
is
a
a
good
genius idea.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes, I got blue for
For
Hanukkah. I need a
all the
Christmas
different
one.
holidays.
Oh, that's so cool.
So those are my pickups. So everything from Defo Rail to Marmot to a hell of a lot of Marasan. But yeah, so I think I might not have another pickup for the next couple of shows. I think I'm tapped out.
I feel like you say that, and then every episode you have an amount of pickups that is what I buy for the whole year.
Well,
something.
I know a guy, and I get good deals.
I know that's what it is.
You gotta have a store.
Yeah.
That's what we need to get, Jake.
Well,
I know,
I feel silly showing off my stuff after all that, but I got a reaction figure.
No shame.
So
Good job, Jake.
cool.
Hey, did you see that in store?
Yeah, that's why I bought it. I actually I actually bought this just because I went to Target and they had they didn't have the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Rodan and the Jet Jaguar. And I was like, it's a Jet Jaguar figure that I don't own in Target. Like, of course I'm going to buy it. I'm really happy with the reactions that I bought at Comic-Con, the glows.
Those are so
These are cool,
Yeah.
but they're not like must-haves. But I mean, of course I'm going to buy the Jet Jaguar. I also got this in the mail from Jess. She sent me a Max Toyco Ultraman.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one is
Why is
so cool.
Look at this little like
Translucent
clear
parts?
see-through.
Yeah, that's. Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
I've
adorable.
one Ultraman Max toy, and I love it. Mark Nagata does such cool stuff, and I love all of his Subaraya licensed stuff. But that I saw that one on the site, and it's so awesome. I think that's one of the best ones he's
He
done.
puts out good stuff. The only other Max Toyco that I have is the Garamon figure,
Oh,
where he's
that's
like
right.
marbled and green, and he puts out great stuff. This
Yeah.
guy's just super colorful. Love this guy.
Oh, that Jess, she's a keeper.
Oh yeah, love that. Yes.
Well, Abby, I tried to get Jake to get Jess on because she opened up all these great kaiju
She opened
toys
her-
recently, and
She opened her birthday stuff today, and
Oh.
it's half of it's kaiju toys.
Well, is it her early birthday present or?
Yeah, it's on Monday.
Okay, cool. Well,
Happy
happy
birthday,
birthday,
Jess.
Jess! Yay! And there you go, Jake. That's a great present.
Thank you. So my next few pickups, I got to thank Brandon Whitmore for. He was working at the collect all. What was it called?
All Monsters Attack. Yeah.
All Monsters Attack. I was like, collect all monsters. That's Facebook.
That's a good name of the show.
All Monsters
a good
Attack,
show.
the show in Chicago, and he was
No,
working.
Indianapolis.
Okay,
Yeah,
let
not yet.
me not jump, not yet. Indianapolis, and he was working that show, and he reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, man," any autographs you need? And I was like, yeah. But he hooked me up, man. He was able to hook me up big time. So I got some autographs. We'll start with let's see. We got Godzilla Jr. here. This is Hurricane Ryu.
Nice.
This is one that I did not already own. I was like, I got to get all the Godzillas, all the versions of Godzilla.
Yeah,
For sure. Pick that one up. And then, speaking of versions of Godzilla, I got Godzillasaurus.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Wataru Fukuda.
Nice.
Hopefully, I'm going to get all these names right. I don't want to be offensive, but I don't want to leave them out.
No.
And then, let's see. Then we got some GMK.
Oh, nice.
Another Godzilla suit actor. This is Yoshida, Mizuho Yoshida.
And also, even if these weren't autographed, these are awesome 8x10s.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I've noticed. So I own, 7 or 8 other Kaiju 8x10s, a couple other Godzilla suit actors, most of them at this point. And something that I have realized. So Brandon was sending me photos of their tables of like what they have available. And he's like, hey, just circle which one you want. And every one of these people that he sent me had 30 options for photos. If you go to Dragon Con or Days of the Dead or any, Abby, you know what I'm about to say, any convention we go to, everybody's got the worst fucking photos on their table. They got 10 photos. They're all fucking blurry. They don't know what they're doing. All of these photos are amazing.
Yeah,
so
they're like glossy and like 8.
Yeah.
They all look great. I got 2 more here. This one's double. So
cool.
we got Motokuni Nakagawa and what do we got? Kitagawa is Godzilla. And I got a few Kitagawas already, but when he had them both at the table together, they were sitting together and they had a picture with them both on it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah.
I got one more, Jay. You know which one this is?
Oh, I know. This is this is the coolest thing. Anybody's gonna see on the show today, no doubt. Oh,
Linda Miller.
Whoa.
Linda Miller when King Kong escapes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
That's nice, dude.
Oh man.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon,
thanks,
awesome
dude.
stuff.
He
Yeah,
knocked
dude.
it out. He knocked it out of the park. Went like, at first I was like, I'm not going to ask him to get me a bunch of autographs. I'll just, if there's a few I need, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But he was really helping me out, and he was like, no, what else you need? What do we need?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, if you're up for this, we'll do it. So, yeah, thank you, dude. I'm going to get all these framed up, and I need to rearrange my area with all my I still haven't framed up my Jet autograph. I need to get everything ready, put it in the good spot. But those are my pickups.
I love it, dude. That's awesome. And
Nice.
a little inside baseball to the listeners. If you were unavailable for this week to talk Mothra, we actually were going to base an episode around that Linda Miller autograph and do King Kong Escapes. So,
Wow.
Yes, I mean,
You got me instead of the autograph. All right.
You are Linda Miller, and hey, that's
Thank
that's
you.
about the highest
Autograph.
praise. That is the highest praise that you can get on the show. But that's so cool,
Thank
dude. I mean, yeah, Brandon, you totally kicked ass, and
Yeah.
Good
that's
stuff.
So cool.
One of the good ones, Brandon. Way to go.
Now, now we're gonna.
Okay.
No timestamps on
No timestamps on this show.
I didn't hear exactly what you said, so
it
we're all
doesn't
good.
matter. It doesn't matter.
We're gonna go ahead and jump into our news, but I say we start with that since we were just kind of talking about it. So, All Monsters Attack has gone ahead. This just happened. 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
They have gone ahead, announced their 2023 date. They have changed their venue. They are now going to be in Chicago. Not only are they going to be at Chicago, they are taking over G-Fest's old spot. G-Fest has been in the same spot since they started until this year, I think, right?
Yeah.
And All Monsters Attack said, fuck you, motherfuckers, and took the old G-Fest hotel, and it's going to happen 2 months before G-Fest.
Preemptive attack right there.
This is high level shots fired at G-Fest. And I'm here to talk Jay into canceling G-Fest and moving to All Monsters Attack because I can actually make this show. Jay, what do you think?
Oh, first off, from a business standpoint, I don't know how smart it is for them, in year 2, to go head up with something that's been around for what will be 28.
Hold on, no. I would agree with you if G-Fest wasn't run by the person it's run by. Yeah. If he hasn't been hemorrhaging readers and whatever for years. And I know you said G-Fest was great.
Yeah, it was great.
They really lacked though in how many guests did they have? 2. Their guests. All Monsters Attack has already shown that they can get very good guests. They're getting more guests than G-Fest, which has been around since I was a child, maybe longer. So if it wasn't for the fact that JD Lee's, a lot of people hate him. A lot of people hate him.
That's G-Fest.
Okay. G-Fest is run by JD Lee's, who has been I'm just gonna call this out. I don't give a fuck. He's been posting a lot of like political stuff in G-Fest, like Trump stuff, like anti-masker bullshit. He couldn't come to his own convention because he wouldn't get vaccinated. So
he's in Canada.
Because he's in Canada and he wouldn't get vaccinated, so he couldn't come across the border to go to his own fucking convention. So I think I've also already seen a lot of community members be like, got my tickets already. You know, like All Monsters Attack. It's taking over. G-Fest is going away. It's not going to be here.
So a couple things. My take on that. G-Fest and G-Fan we have to separate because it's like a war on two fronts because G-Fan the magazine, it's had competition for a bit with Kaiju Ramen. Sure. And I think you look at those two things and they're like, one is substantially better content and it's Kaiju Ramen. 100%. And but G-Fan has, it's been around forever, right? It's how a lot of us got into Godzilla before we knew anything, before we knew about it. Or knew about JD and everything. So now on the convention front, I see from everything that I've heard, because I wasn't at AMA, but I've heard it was a well-run convention. Everything was great. It was very autograph focused, thus the guests, right? Sure. And it was very artist focused because we know the big issues with G-Fest and not allowing artists to basically create an artist alley unless
another bullet point for G-Fest.
I was like, why so? That's
we don't know. I don't know if he's ever said why you have to have a Toho license to do artwork of Toho creatures and without these licenses you can only do like original work. And so there was like 3 artists. It's like the 3 people that have the license, right? It's like Matt Frank and and even though Tom wasn't there, Tom Whalen could people that have the license.
People that want to go for the dealers to get stuff. That's total bummer.
And so All Monsters Attack did not have that, and so the artist alley was very like. I heard was great. Now, what I also heard was a negative was the vendor room was pretty small compared to G-Fest, which is gigantic. And it's year 1. They don't have a community they don't have the community. They don't have, G-Fest has, you can't do an 1/8 of what's happening in at G-Fest. There are dozens and dozens of panels.
G-Fest is like, G-Fest is like Dragon Con. There's like movies shown all the time. There's panels. It's like, so Abby, just as a little bit of context, Attack All Monsters that's Days of the Dead. It's the same. Got it. It's the same.
Oh, it is the same
company.
Actual people. Okay.
Yeah. It's Days of the Dead. They were like, hey, let's do a kaiju one.
Which Days of the Dead is guests and artists. Like
so I'm assuming it's probably a lot like when we go to Days of the Dead in Atlanta, but it was all kaiju. And G-Fest is like Dragon Con. It's not official. As big, but there's just way more stuff happening. Yeah. So I get what you're saying, but there's no reason Attack All Monsters can't get those things, get a bigger dealer room,
Yeah.
start
100%.
doing panels, and there's no reason they couldn't.
And so the reason I don't think it's a good business move is I'm putting on my vendor hat, because my goal,
You're vending,
waiting to hear, is to actually Toku Toy Town is gonna go to G-Fest next year. I'm waiting on the details, but they have my info and everything looks good. I can't do both. They're 2 months away from each other.
It's too soon.
That's besides, like, my wife would kill me, having to stay with kids for that long. Like that back to back, basically 2 months apart. I mean, that's a big commitment coming from Dallas to Chicago, having to drive up, 800 pieces of inventory, which if I turn my camera around, my inventory, I'm getting ready for a big toy show coming up. It's like, you can't even see the floors. There's so much stuff on here. And so it's a big commitment. So, like, that's why I'm probably not going to make All Monsters Attack next year as a vendor. Now, do I sneak in there and try to go for a couple days as a guest? Because, like I said, if they get some really good guest lists, maybe. I mean, if they have Yasuka Sawaguchi from Miyato Takaru, then I'm going to be there. Right. Anyway, so I just don't. I think that I wish they would have continued to grow the brand, grow the convention, make it whatever it is. It could be autograph, it could be more immersive like G-Fest. And if you are going to take out G-Fest because of whatever reason, whether that's the right approach or not, like, I just don't. I think it's too early, and they're not even. Go somewhere else. Go to New York. Go to LA. Go to Atlanta. Go somewhere.
It is weird to do it. It is weird to do the same kind of convention just 2 months away from. It is weird,
and like 100 yards away from where the other one is.
It's weird, but it's also like a fucking badass cutthroat move.
That's kind of a
fuck you, and like
the balls on those folks are just gigantic. I mean,
I hope it works out. I hope it works out for him. And I'm gonna be honest, man. I hope Attack All Monsters can become what we wish G-Fest still was.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ultimate, like, the best case scenario for me is simply like both of them do well, and really, isn't the best case like G-Fest stays exactly how it is, but somebody else just owns it and runs it, and there's no connection to, like somebody
just get JD Lee's the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if that will happen.
I don't case. Yeah,
right. Yeah, can it be YHS presents G-Fest? Can you guys just take it over?
Yeah, we can do it.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Toy Anxiety. I mean, you guys have you guys got to be raking in the cash. You should totally take it over.
Dude, we got just buckets, barrels of cash.
Yeah, so much of it.
But yeah, I'm like I said, I'm glad it's happening. I do. I just hope they're doing. I hope they know what they're doing to go after G-Fest so early. But the one saving grace, what you mentioned, was what All Monsters Attack, it seemed like, did really well. Autographs, artists. That's a huge deficiency for G-Fest. But I also, like, G-Fest had 6,000 guests this year. I don't know what All Monsters Attack did. I mean, there's probably a pretty big delta there between those two. I just don't know. Going to Chicago, do they grow, or did they benefit from being away from kind of the nurturing bosom of G-Festum? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We go to Days of the Dead in Atlanta every single year, and it's kind of small. We have fun. We just go for the day. But we went to Days of the Dead in Indianapolis a few years ago, and I was expecting the kind of small Atlanta version, and we got there, and it was like, what the fuck is this? Why isn't this what Atlanta's like? It felt 3 times as big. Remember that, Abby? It felt like a big convention, and we were like, what is this?
It's like everyone's coming out to this.
It's the same show.
Yeah. Well, I feel also you have to remember the markets like Atlanta. I'll put Atlanta in the same bucket with Chicago and LA, New York, a lot of these, Dallas, Fort Worth, like Houston, like these, there's no shortage of conventions. Correct. So like you have competition. People in Indianapolis, people in Little Rock, like you guys saw, like
that's what I was thinking of, the lines in Little Rock.
It's something that they don't have a lot of other options.
Yeah, rarity makes it
exactly.
Enticing.
I mean, that's why like we're getting here in Dallas. Like, I mean, I'm not an anime person, but like there's like 9 anime conventions a year here because Funimation is based here and stuff. And it's like at some point, the bubble's gonna burst. So I just like I said, I want both to succeed. I'm trying to put on like my neutral like business person marketing hat. Like, I don't know if this is the right move from a timing standpoint, I think that All Monsters Attack could have grown and become a behemoth in Indianapolis, in other markets. Like, expand out, make your empire where there's an All Monsters Attack in every mid-level city and in all kind of the, tier B cities and in the Charlottes and the Nashvilles of the world, and then take on Chicago, take on New York, take on those. I just felt there's a better path. Now, and I know there's some backstory between G-Fest and All Monsters Attack. I'm not privy to it. I don't know what
it is. Yeah,
that's what I would assume. Yeah, if it's like coming to your territory and opening up right where you were, that seems like kind of an attack.
For
a threat.
Yeah, and like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I just feel like when things are done for that reason, sometimes they don't always work out in the best way. So once again, from a Kaiju fan standpoint, I'm glad they announced the show and some of the guests already a year in advance. That's amazing. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean,
well, if you want to get a hotel room, we'll get a hotel room.
Hey, I already got mine for
G-Fest. Because I will go to this. Sadly, I would love to go to G-Fest, but sadly, it is the same weekend as Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And Comic-Con is going to, I'm going to Comic-Con.
You have to.
I mean, but I can make 2 months. I can make 2 months before Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Let's move past this.
Jay, you say that, Jake. But I remember you and Abby and Craig racked up a lot of frequent flyer miles, like every weekend for like the whole first half of the year.
Yeah. So now hold on. Now listen. I thought about it already. I thought about it already. The weekend that this is happening, last year we were at Star Wars Celebration. We ain't going to Star Wars Celebration this year. To London? So no. So
dude,
now
we had it.
We probably are going to. We probably are going to California in June. For Ghostbusters Day.
Yeah, of course.
Ectofest. But other than that, my May is open.
Okay, well, I'll just invite Abby and Craig then. They can come to G-Fest with me and hang out, so it'll be good.
Yeah. 100%.
Jay, you want to go through some of this
other... somebody.
Ryan will go. Well, good luck to you spending a weekend with Ryan.
I'm glad he does
a fun time.
Hey, so the other big piece of news that we have to talk about, and we have a little bit of toy news, and we can zoom through it. But did we get a teaser? Did we get a teaser for another Godzilla Day short?
We did.
That's officially licensed by Toho. I think we did. Godzilla versus Gigan Rex. What do you think?
Yeah. I
watched it.
Yes,
I love it. I love it, man. And there's a little. Maybe you can explain. So somebody put out a fake trailer for this years ago. Did you see this?
Well, there's the G versus G that was
right, and it's the same animation.
Yeah, and that's actually it's
is that
fake,
a legit?
But it's official. Yeah, it's legit.
Official, but it was like not a real. It was like a fake teaser for something that didn't happen years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 2019, maybe.
And it's the same. And it's the same kind of animation. They're actually going to do a short of it. I love Gigan. He's always been one of my favorites. I hate the way he looks in Final Wars. Final Wars.
Yeah.
No. I love the way he looks.
Yeah,
in
me
here.
too.
He looks even goofier. I hope there's figures based on this and the weird red Gigan Rex at the end.
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah. What do you think, Abby?
I'm happy to hear that Jake is happy because that's what I was concerned about. I know you love Gigan. I thought it was a really cool trailer. I liked the design. It was interesting, colorful, and engaging. I would watch it. Looking forward to it.
And I really like when
there's a bunch of them.
Yeah,
there's like a bunch of Gigan.
Yeah, and I really love the short they did last year for Hedorah, Godzilla versus Hedorah. They'll kind of like where it was just the Final Wars.
But it was that.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing that was just plain old the fact that Toho's putting official Godzilla shorts out is great.
Yeah,
I did love the Hedorah one because they were in costumes. It was like you were actually getting man in suit stuff. But just the fact that they're going to do this thing where every year they're going to put some shorts out, it makes me itch for. I want a new Toho full length Godzilla movie, but. I'm glad they're doing it, man. And Gigan next year is going to be Megalon.
I know.
We're going to get a Megalon short film next year. It's going to happen.
I mean, the trend is like last year was Hedera's 50th. They did the short with Hedera. This
Yeah.
year's Gigan's 50th. Did the short with the Gigan.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. We're gonna get.
We're gonna get Jet Jaguar and Megalon next
I know. maybe Gigan Rex again because he could be in it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe Lord Antonio, Emperor Antonio will be there.
Oh, that'd be cool. Hey, they can hire me. I'll do it.
I was about to say that they should. You and
my costume's better than the one in the movie.
Okay, yeah, put that together. Okay.
Please send that in. Like, get this
you're
guy.
Such a lucky guy. Like that you and they. Yeah, y'all resemble each other. That's so cool.
Oh, you could be the long lost Emperor Antonio the 7th. It'd be
The 7th. There you go.
Yeah, but that probably doesn't make. I don't exactly know when Zootopia who knows how long.
Who knows? Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was really cool, and that was a nice bit of news that dropped that I wasn't expecting, and
Same.
yeah, I'm excited for. I mean, always excited for Godzilla Day, but even more so this year, and it's coming up.
Hey, there's a piece of news that came out today that we can talk about that's not on your list.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, live news.
Yes, and you have to talk about this. This is your world.
I got tagged in this earlier when Fangoria posted about this. And when I got tagged in it, it took me a few minutes. I watched it and I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, what? I was like, what does John Carpenter have to do with Godzilla? I was like, what is this? And then it hit me. And then you messaged me about it. And I don't think there's any other. So Abby, what happened was Fangoria posted a teaser today. It's like a 15-second video of John Carpenter walking into a movie theater and sitting down. And you hear the reel play. It says coming soon. The coming soon turns green and you hear Godzilla's roar, and that's it. And a lot of people in the horror world are talking about it, and people are thinking they're like, oh, is John Carpenter going to do like a Godzilla score or something?
Right, that's exactly what
because that's what he does now. But what all those horror people don't fucking know about John Carpenter is that when he was young, he made Gorgo versus Godzilla, a movie, like a home movie kind of thing.
Yeah, fan film.
He made it. He's talked about it. Yeah, it's a fan film, but he's always been like, no one's ever gonna see it. He's like, I made it I think he made it when he was in college or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And,
I thought this might have been younger. Got it.
And he's like, it will never see the light of day. It could not be anything else.
Yeah.
They're gonna release. He's releasing Gorgo versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
I think that's the only fucking thing that could be
so amazing. And I read, because I mean I knew of it, but I didn't know, like, I never read deep into it. And I was reading some stuff after that got released, and I was like, I mean, his official term was like, it's devastatingly bad, and he goes, it will never see the light of day.
Yeah.
And that will be so. I mean, first off, like I think they said it's like roughly 1969, a 1969 John Carpenter fanfic of Godzilla versus Gorgo might be something that we see. Like, what the hell?
That's insane. Yeah.
That's yes.
Yeah.
Dude,
but
there's
I
nothing
hope
better than old stuff getting released finally that you've been.
I hope he records his own new score to go with it. That would be great. I can't imagine it's more.
That would
than,
elevate it. Yeah.
I can't imagine it's more than 15 minutes long, but we'll see. It's probably shorter than that, but we will see. I guess.
I just hope it's him playing with like toys like this, like
that's what I'm saying. The movies of youth that you made, I love when those come to light. Like,
I don't care what it is. I just want to see it.
Yeah,
well, you guys are really into, like, I mean, you, because of your ties and being the number one Ghostbusters influencers in the world. You guys know, like, obviously that community has a lot of people that do fan films and stuff. Is this going to cause more problems? Are we going to have like people say, yeah, you know what, John Carpenter did, I'm going to do it, and there's going to be this huge outpouring of fan films in the Godzilla and the Kaiju community, and that we don't see now?
I doubt it, but that'd be great. I would love to see it.
We could have a fan film marathon on YHS on Monster Island.
Yeah, I think we could do a fan film. It's probably pretty great.
Hey, there's a guy, Jay. You sent me this, but what's the fan film where one guy plays Godzilla and he plays all of the he even plays like the electric pylons. It's just him standing there like this, like in normal clothes. Playing Godzilla, walking around like this. Yeah, he's in a suit.
If all of them were like that, then yes.
It was amazing. I don't know. I can't remember what it was called or what his name was, but
shot for shot one man recreation. That's
I know
great.
it's amazing. But yeah, I hope that it's that, just because talk about an unexpected treat. Like to have to see this film. Like, I wouldn't even call it a lost film, because it was like, no, like it exists. Like, we're just not gonna see it. So it was like, I don't know. I think it's just gonna be something totally wacky and amazing, and
for sure.
I just want to know.
Hopefully,
why.
Kurt Russell's in it.
I know, that would be amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I mean, Big Trouble on Odo Island. I mean, I would be amazing. That would be, Jack Burton's my hero, so like, that would be pretty awesome.
Isn't Gorgo's French, right?
British.
Okay.
Technically British or Irish. I can't remember. I think it's British though.
Okay. I'm gonna look this Gorgo up and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Gorgo's great.
Gorgo is great.
Gorgo's a great film.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
But it's not like Toho. It has nothing to do with Godzilla. It's just a kaiju film made somewhere else. It's great though.
And we can have a whole debate. We can bring Abby on next time. We can have this. What is Europe's greatest kaiju film? Is it Gorgo from the UK, or is it Reptilicus from Denmark?
Oh, Reptilicus is cool. I like Reptilicus.
Okay.
I think Gorgo's better, but I loved Reptilicus growing up just because it spit at people.
That's cool.
And just the puppet. Oh man, it's so Reptilicus.
That actually sounds like, I love puppets, love spitting.
Our new tagline.
That sounds great.
Jay, you wanna run down all this toy news? You got pictures and stuff?
I do have some pictures, and I'll hit a couple of the big ones up, and I'll focus it on the fact that, hey, we had another big event. We had Superfest Extra Volume 4.
I feel like Superfest happens every 4 to 6 months. What the fuck?
There's like 2 a year. I think it's like Wonderfest. But yeah, I mean, Superfest has been going on.
Superfest, Wonderfest.
Superfest,
too many times.
Toy Fest, yeah.
Too many times per year. There's like, oh, cool. Here's 50 new Godzilla toys I need.
Well, if you think about it, like, I mean, as somebody that like obviously tries to source these as quick as possible and get them to the States, I mean, you have Wonderfest Summer and Wonderfest Winter. You have at least 2 Superfests. You have now you have these Treasure Festa onlines. I think they're up to the 8th one is coming up, or just finished the 8th one. In which like Saru Jirushi and Passion Tank and some of the more premium Sofubi players are really like they're using that as a launching pad.
Yeah.
And then you have Marasan does their own Summerfest, Summerfesta. And so like you have all these events, and it's hard to keep up with, on top of the pop-up events and all that other stuff, on top of the, I'm just glad they don't do like all the Comic-Cons, but there's Tokyo Comic-Con that they do release stuff for. It's hard to keep up with, but I will show you a couple from Superfest. And I feel like Superfest and Wonderfest, usually the big news comes out of X Plus. And I feel like they have a lot of releases. And I think this one, there's not necessarily a lot of quantity, and nothing really is like that crazy except for one. And I'm so excited for it. So let me share my screen here for what I'm most excited about. And this is the only one I don't have my own picture for. So I'm pulling this off of a Kaiju news outlet on Twitter. So let me share this real quick. So there it is, unpainted. This is X Plus going singular point with Godzilla Ultima. I am so happy. I'm so happy.
I'm interested to see. I think this is the first time X Plus has done an animated character. X Plus, their whole thing is that it's all sort of super realistic, super accurate to the film costumes. They look like you can film. It looks like I could film Godzilla versus Gigan with my Godzilla versus Gigan.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're doing something that is from a animated show that's super bright and simple and colorful and kind of flat as far as details go, that kind of blows my mind. And I think that this is going to end up being an absolutely must-have figure.
It looks great. I'm happy you're both happy.
Doesn't happen often.
No, that's what, dude. You come on Monster Island, Jake loves everything. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
Oh, that's awesome. But X Plus wasn't done. That was by far the main event of all of this. But they did a couple more releases, They released from a Monster Makers model kit. They did a favorite sculptors line, 30 centimeter Mechagodzilla 74. Pull this bad boy
It's a
up
good
here.
looking toy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And the FSL line, the favorite sculptors line is great. They do wonderful stuff. I mean, it's one of those things with X Plus, very rarely, unless you're just one of those crazy people that can spot the smallest detail of a detail of a detail. Like, all of them are great. To me, it's more just like, what are they going to release? How wacky are they going to get?
Right,
How
right.
obscure? And not that this is obscure. I have the 75, 30 centimeter Rick of this guy, so I probably won't pick him up. But, if somebody's like, hey, here's a free one, I'll take it.
Sure.
Right.
You'll end up with one of these.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to get down there. I don't know if I want to get down to 74. I already have one. I don't need more X Plus. I am focusing on Sophobie here. Come on now. I say that as I have like 12 pre-orders, right? And the other one here, let me share the other one real quick from our good buddies over at X Plus. Where is it? Okay, here we go. X Plus. This is a, kind of a, I don't want to call it a generic Heisei Godzilla, but it's technically a 93.
I was about to say it's 93, right?
Yeah.
Is this Mothra or 93 Mechagodzilla?
Yeah. And so it's great. I mean, once again, I have a 91 and a 92. I don't know if I'm going to get this 93, but I might. I do like it. He's a big boy. It's a big boy.
Yeah, I like this. I'm thinking about picking this one up too.
Yeah.
I have one, Heisei, I got that 89. But 89 is my favorite, but there is a difference between the 89, I think, and all the rest of the Heisei Godzillas. I think all the rest of the Heisei Godzillas kind of have a particular, I don't know, there's something different with his face.
Yeah.
That is not exactly the same from 89, and I feel like I need one of these. His spines are a little fatter.
Yeah.
They look like
he's chunkier for sure. Yeah, he's definitely chunkier.
Yeah,
I would say like 89 and 91. I mean, I know they use the 89 as the base suit for 91, but I do agree. 93, this one right here is, I think, a pretty big difference.
His eyes also become rounder and bigger in red.
Yeah,
so
red.
That gives him such a different appearance.
Yeah, but he also starts having his take care of kids. He's tired.
Is there not a light up? Is there a light up version of this too?
This is the light. Yeah, sorry.
This is the light up.
Yeah. I don't have an image of it, but the spines do light up. It's the luminescent version.
It's up for pre-order already.
I like that.
Awesome collector.
Yeah. If it lights up.
It lights up. There's a lot of X Plus that light up. And then kind of the other things coming out of Superfest, because it just wasn't only X Plus, but this is one I love. This one. This is from Mara-san. Let me pull this up here, and this is something that will be in a week or so. Will be on tokutoytown.com if you want it. The 95, the Death Godzilla. Oh, that's a different 95. There we go. Superfest. This is really cool. This is the Mara-san 350 95 Godzilla open mouth with a really cool, like I said, the Death Godzilla with the black and the orange and the gold and stuff. So, I love this one. I think this was a great release and a great colorway.
Yeah,
nice.
This guy's great. Yeah. We've seen the sculpt. We've talked about it. There's nothing else. I like the red and gold.
Yeah, the spines are really nice touches.
It's fun to see the a different take on kind of the meltdown Death Godzilla, like the with the yellow and the orange, because we've seen it done so many times in Sophobie form. This one I think is a little bit unique and on a Mara-san sculpt. I think it's cool. I think it's different. I'm going to pick this one up for myself, I believe, as well. And then let's see, what else did those guys release here? They also did a really good 450 glow in the dark Canagon, the coin monster. So let me see if I can find this guy.
Some Ultra Q.
From Ultra Q.
Abby, this guy.
Look at this guy.
Has a.
Oh, I fucking love this guy. Yes.
Got the coin purse for a head, and he eats coins.
Dear God, do I love that.
And
coin
so this is a big one.
Great.
450. This is a big figure. This is
it'll be like this size.
Right?
Yeah. Delicate pink.
Yeah.
That's
and glow in the dark.
Looks
and
like ice cream.
Glows in the dark.
Glows in the dark.
Candy or something.
Yeah, it's an expensive nightlight.
I love that guy.
And then last, a company we don't talk about a lot, on here is CCP, and they, they're really known a lot for their Heteras, and you're about to see some Hetera as well. But
Are
they,
these? Okay.
have you seen these? Have you seen
Well,
the metallic?
are they the rainbow ones?
Oh yeah, they're the metallic.
It's like the first time I've ever actually wanted a Hetero figure.
Yeah. Let me see here if I can pull these up. And CCP always releases Heteras in like 3 different forms. Like you have like the smokestack, the landing, and then the giant one. So I'll show the smokestack one up here first, and you'll get the picture. So so this is Rainbow Metallic. They do really good stuff. Now I've bought a few for myself. It just, like I said, they're not the company that I usually gravitate towards, but they do every colorway imaginable. I don't know how they're still putting out new stuff, to be honest with you. They did one that were like poison arrow dart frog inspired. I bought one that was like galaxy inspired. I mean, they do really wacky stuff.
They got some good sculpts. I really like the sculpt. Well, you'll show it in a minute.
And I will share the other ones here.
I love that rainbow coloring.
Yeah, and it's
they look good. The metallic, like they look very, they look expensive. I'm sure they will be, but they look like this one. I love this sculpt because he looks menacing. He looks like he looks like he just entered the ropes of a wrestling ring.
Yes.
I love this figure. I love it.
Yeah, and then they did
attitude.
He does. He really does. And then the last one is the largest of the Hetero releases. Let's see if I have. Oh yeah, and this one is just a big glob of Hetera. I mean, but it's gigantic. I mean, these things are like this big. And then on top of this, at the event they also released some lottery figures that you had a chance to win, and I thought some of these were really cool. They do a Hetera variant of this, which they're calling the Candy Drop variant, and I thought this one was really cool as well. Let me see if I can find a little group shot here. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. So this is the Candy Drop one. Yeah. So it's like a bunch of like melted hard candy. And then they also had this silver one and then some different Gigans and Godzilla.
Oh, I like that black Gigan there.
Yeah.
The red.
And all of these down here are their medium vinyl. So they're about 6 inches. They're a little bit smaller, but really cool stuff. And that was those were kind of the big takeaways from Superfest. So some really cool stuff. And hey, today, like there's bigger. Metacom announced their newest lottery, which is going to be the 5th or 6th variant of the 95 and Raku and Saku. And so there's a lot of other cool stuff coming out, but Superfest, I think those are the biggest highlights for me. And of course, Godzilla Ultima takes the cake.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I do my best, Jake.
Figures.
I do my best.
Well, it's an hour in. Let's talk about Mothra.
Yes. I've enjoyed this time. Thank you.
Listen, real quick, what I want to say about Mothra. Yeah, this movie's awesome. It's great. I think as far as the like kind of standalone kaiju films that aren't Godzilla movies, it's the best. But it's not a rewatch all the time for me because if I'm in the mood for Mothra, I'm gonna watch Godzilla versus Mothra. I'm gonna watch 62 or whatever.
64, yeah.
64. But it is great. It's a great film. Jay, I know it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like Mothra versus Godzilla is my favorite Godzilla film. It's maybe my favorite kaiju film. Definitely is my favorite kaiju film. And so it's interesting when you talk about the standalones, like the intro films. Like you have Godzilla 54, you have Rodan 56, and you have Varan 58, and then Mothra. I don't know if it's let's ignore Godzilla 54. I don't know if I necessarily like Mothra 61 more than I do Rodan. Like Rodan, I think is just a great film, but there's something definitely better than Varan. Varan is fucking garbage, and I love Varan.
Duly noted.
Yeah, the movie is just
what's next for me. Rodan.
Notes, yeah.
Rodan's great. Rodan is kind of like it's
Rodan's good, but Rodan's great, but it's sad. It's got such a fucking sad ending.
This is the opposite of that.
It is, and I think when I watch Mothra, first of all, Mothra in every film she's in, she's great. I've always loved Mothra. She's always one of my favorites, but she's always like she's sort of got this stigma of being like, she's gonna die. She's just like, she's just there to help Godzilla. She's just there to lift Godzilla's tail while he walks, kind of thing. But then when you go back and you watch Mothra, it's like the only film where Mothra, they're trying to make her menacing and trying to make her scary. And I don't think they completely succeed with that, but it is nice for her first film to be like, hey, if you guys don't listen to me, I'm going to fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
And then the next time you see her, she's like, okay, I'll help you now that I've taught you not to kidnap my peanuts. But, it is weird. I'm watching it and I'm like, first of all, I want Mothra. I don't want larva Mothra ever. Larva Mothra, bottom kaiju, like bottom of the barrel, can fucking go hang out with Anguirus and Varan and whoever the fuck.
Come on.
So it's like I'm watching the movie. I'm like, can we hurry up and get to the cocoon, please?
Well, it's interesting you say that. And so I grew up, I didn't like Mothra. I didn't even honestly like when I was younger. Mothra versus Godzilla was not my favorite film. I think that's when I appreciated it over time. But I never liked Mothra because I just felt like I wanted a big giant lizard that shot radiation, and I wanted like cool dinosaur like monsters or giant robots or whatever. So Mothra was never my favorite, and this film was never, like, as a kid, was like never my favorite. It's like, okay, neat, but I think a lot of it is, and you mentioned it, Jake. I don't watch it thinking that she is a Godzilla kaiju, she is a Rodan kaiju, she is supposed to be this menacing or whatever. To me, it's like she's not. I think she's and that's why I don't think they could succeed in it. I think it's a impossible battle to win. I think she's a destructive force. I think they show that. But to me, and we can dive deeper in a little bit on it, but like I think she's like representative of something bigger and more honest. I think it's representative of Japan and in where they were at that current time in the socio-political climate there. But I always view her as something totally different, where she's not the menace we have to stop. We're the menace we have to stop, and she's the means to do that. So to me, it's just so different than a lot of those other films where it's like monster bad, people good, right, and the end. So I don't know. What about you, Abby? What do you think? What was your initial thoughts?
Well, I liked Mothra. My first introduction to Mothra is through what's the most recent, like the Gareth Edwards
King of the Monsters.
King of the Monsters. I first associated Mothra with the Claire de Lune number. Like that's like that beauty
from the trailer
of that. And that was the first time I was like, whoa.
So beautiful, yeah.
Beautiful force of nature that is not to be fucked with. That's not out there for like vengeance or just to menace things. But it's almost like that representation of like the beauty and the chaos of nature that cannot be tamed. And if you try to tame it, then Mothra's going to come and like fucking destroy your city. And don't take like the exploitation message kind of don't like, don't take from us.
It doesn't belong to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that for me as a female, I look at that and I see Mothra just in the beauty that she exists in the culture and in that island of that being like a very, I think that it's representative, like you're saying, Jay, of like the socio-political stuff, probably, which you know more about. But like for me as a woman, or as showing beauty in nature that like cannot be caged and taken and moved like in King Kong, it's like that's the stuff. And also the fact, when I know we'll get into the Peanuts, but the Peanuts as just two entities and two forces, like having a connection with a giant creature like that through music and like telepathy and that kind of like animal creature and fairy connection is just like, yeah, I love it. I love it so much. And the first time I saw them, like I said, I was washing dishes and I was like, shit, I just had to like film it immediately. I was like, this is beautiful. This is yeah.
And it's so different. And I think that's where like, whether as a kid or whatever you like Mothra or don't, like the Godzilla continuum, the kaiju world, the landscape of kaiju, like it would be lacking something if it didn't have Mothra in it. Like it's I'm not saying it's a full like counterbalance to these other big bad alpha type things, but like you're right. There's not another Mothra type kaiju out there that's as successful as Mothra, obviously, that like it is its own thing and it's original and it's awesome and it's unique. And And I do think like the world of kaiju in film is better because Mothra is there and it is such a critical element to it. So and it's well done. I mean, this movie, it's one thing to have that idea on paper, and I know this was started from a serialized story, the Luminous Fairies and Mothra, or the Glowing Fairies and Mothra, depending on your translation. And I know that there's a lot of good content there, but like to take that, and we know there's lots of great source content that's garbage on screen. And I think they did a wonderful job capturing that component and making it feel different than Rodan and Varan and Godzilla before it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the best thing about Mothra, the kaiju, is that, like what you were just saying, she truly feels like, when you're watching kaiju movies, other than like maybe the original Godzilla, a lot of the kaiju just seem like they exist to cause havoc. Mm-hmm. They exist because Godzilla needs somebody to fight.
Yeah.
But Mothra, in every film basically that Mothra is in, she's not like, it's like, well, Mothra is not a fighter. She's here to, she just wants to do her own thing, or live on her island with her people, or depending on what film you're watching. But I always get the sense that she's like dragged into the fight.
Yeah, she's over there. What I mean? She's neutral. She's Switzerland. Yeah. It's like, I didn't want to get into this.
She's Miyagi-Do. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, can we talk Cobra Kai later? All right. I think that it's that feminine sensibility of her, almost that like to me, it's like in the movie, like the way that the villain and when Infant Island is like infiltrated and taken advantage of and exploited like that, like that's it's almost like it's similar to Jurassic Park with like you can't cage and you can't. Yeah. That chaos and that beauty that exists that man tries to take and commercialize. I think that's a message that I get from it, and it makes me feel like Mothra is not a negative force or a menacing force, but like something that is just like a constant, like the beauty of nature kind of thing. That's how I think of her.
And I think it was a bold move for Toho to kind of change course and do a film where the monster is not like inherently evil or destructive, and like it's so blatantly like it's the humans and the Rolisicans in this case that are and Nelson,
and they're awful. Like they
Nelson
really
is a piece of shit.
They really go for it too. Like there's scenes of like the three guys in their suits and their hats laughing and stuff, and it's like they really they really go for it.
Well, and so like one thing that like obviously watching it as a young kid, no idea, right? But as you watch it over and over, and when I understood at some point that like Rolisica, not only is it like supposed to be a metaphor for kind of Russia and America Japan right in the middle, post World War II and the Cold War, like it actually is like mashing up the two names in Japanese and they come up with so it's not a subtle nod to that. It's like, no guys, this is really it. But like and it's cool how they present them. Nelson represents the worst of the worst, and you even hear like even like no reporters, the government's they want to, the Rolisicans are cool covering up bad stuff, but they're still like the one doctor from Rolisica's a good guy. They're still good, at the end of the day, they're the ones that kill Nelson, right? So like they're not inherently evil, they're just motivated by the wrong thing, by greed instead of that. And Japan, I know at the time felt that they were just kind of being exploited in between these two superpowers, even more so from the US. And I thought it was a bold move to go so away from like the nuclear bombs are bad and go even more political, even though I don't think it's ever heavy-handed in the point where like it takes away from the enjoyment of the film. But like it's obviously like there. And
it's a clever way to do that. I mean, like just in the same way that Godzilla was kind of their way of getting around, the fact that they're not, at the time, they weren't really allowed to be making movies about Hiroshima, They still made a movie about Hiroshima by making Godzilla, and this was kind of their way of doing the same thing. It's like, well, let's get around that by making a movie about a giant moth.
Yeah, through art and like music, and god damn it, this movie had so many cool set pieces and costumes and like the fantasy level. I know you were talking about that at one point, Jay. Like that's what that's why, not to go into the rebirth of Mothra, but that fantasy element, which is in there, is that's extremely captivating for me. Like there's a moment when they walk into the cave on Infant Island, and the cave itself is like, it's just gorgeous. Like the way the set deck is, it's almost like Wizard of Oz, but like something you've never seen before. The way that like the colors and the plants, and the way that that's recreated in the like the theatrical show that they put on.
Yeah.
You know what I felt when with that scene, like in the Infant Island scenes with the cave and the dances. You know what I always think when I see that? I always think Sinbad movies and Harryhausen. That's how, like, to me it has like
100%.
a lot of that like vibe.
Yeah.
And done really well. And one of the island dancers also shows up in the background as a cameraman is Ultraman. Yeah.
Shit.
There's a lot of that kind of there's a lot of kaiju royalty in this film.
Just cameos. It's like random. Akiko Arata's just there. You know,
that's so cool. Yeah, that just elevates it. But yeah, I wrote down the foliage in this movie is unparalleled. I love the foliage,
especially the carnivorous foliage.
Yes. That's oh my god. Yes, that stuff is otherworldly and extremely inspirational, and just a departure from the movies that preceded it. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's visually they don't, you know, staying on kind of on the visual front. I also think like this, I mean, we're not that far. We're 5 years into Toho being in color, right? Like, I mean, we have Rodan, I think, was the first, right? And then and not all of them after that were in color. But Mothra is visually beautiful. I think some of the shots of Mothra larva, and I know you hate Mothra larva, and I will not argue that, but it might be some of the swimming and even the like it's destructive path directly to Tokyo Tower.
Yes.
Culminating in the cocoon scene. I think it's some of the best shots of Mothra larva where, is it believable as a main protagonist? No. I mean, we're not going to believe that against Godzilla, even though two of them beat Godzilla. But anyway,
the mechanics of it don't seem.
But like it looks, it's the best looking I think that Mothra larva has ever been, including like the Heisei era and all
100%.
I think
good
it's
gloss,
yeah,
some really pretty shots too in the ocean with the light and
the ocean, that exact one. Like, oh my gosh, like it's
I know what you're thinking of. It's not that long of a shot, but you're like, fuck.
Yeah, it's like
beautiful.
Oh my God, this is beautiful, and then of course the Tokyo Tower cocoon scene.
The cocoon stuff is awesome.
That makes me so happy. That reminds me of this rivalry with G-Fest and the All Monsters attacking. Like just like Mothra setting up, being like, "Fuck you! I'm cocooning in this tower
in your place." Yeah,
that's my favorite Mothra. I'm over the shit. I'm gonna metamorphosize.
I'm gonna take a nap. And if you're still here when I get out, if you're still here when I wake up, I'm gonna fuck you up.
And it doesn't matter if you set me on fire. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
Your atomic ray guns don't hurt me.
Those fucking weird guns.
It makes me, you know what those guns made me think of? Remember last show, Jake, when we watched Gahara, the long and dark-haired monster? Yeah. The dark and long-haired monster. Remember, like the U.S. secret weapon was the giant fan.
Yeah,
I love what the U.S. comes up with to like battle these monsters. You're like, oh, you're so fucked. Like no matter what.
Oh yeah, the good people of New Kirk City.
New Kirk City. I looked that up, Jake, because I was like, they did not say New York, and then I saw the New Kirk Motors or whatever. Oh, let me research. Where's the New Kirk City?
I know, right? Like, talk about a not so subtle, nod. But the shots are beautiful, and it's just, I don't know. There's just a lot of really cool moments in the film visually.
There's something captivating about the peanuts, like just the fact that there's just the fact that there's these two twin fairies that are beautiful and they're singing these like wonder. There's just something captivating about that, and the fact that mythology has always kind of stuck with Mothra, no matter what film she's in. Yeah,
well, it brought to Godzilla. I mean, we wouldn't have fantasy in Godzilla if it wasn't for Mothra. You know, there was no fantasy before. It was all science fiction.
Right.
I mean, if Mothra, the film would have been just bombed, and then we wouldn't have got Mothra versus Godzilla. We wouldn't have had the Godzilla continuum. Wouldn't have allowed to have the fantasy element. And so it's, I don't know. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the addition of the peanuts. I love like first meeting them. The introduction's incredible. But you feel so much empathy. And I think there's like like again, they're kind of that microcosm, literally, of Mothra when you see them being taken in like suitcases and hauled around and not respected.
Right.
It's so evident. But I just have to say that what's the name of the show? Like the Secret Fairy show is the carriage ride. That's like
the carriage ride. Yeah.
I have to stop everything I'm doing and like literally it's so beautiful. And
every time I see that, it makes me think of Disney World, and like it feels like being on some of those old rides. Yeah,
but an old old Disney
rides at Disney, and I was like, fuck, I wish there was I want to be on a Mothra ride.
Yeah.
At one point they come through the air and sing you a song, and
dude.
That would be amazing.
Hey, but also like I feel like there's also like 4 times in the movie where they get they're the bad guys are like looking for them on the island or whatever, and I'm like, they're a foot tall. How are they getting found so easily? Like over and over, it's like, oh, there they are. It's like, guys,
they're attracted to those the noises. Yeah.
It shouldn't be that easy.
Yeah, but hey, that's okay. That's a convenient plot element that we can look past. But I mean, and the funny thing is, like, just the Peanuts in real life, like, that's a whole other thing. Like the challenges. They were huge stars at this time. Like, they were not like discovered and like
they weren't actors. Like they weren't actors. Like they talked about how they were surprised how well they learned their lines and acted the actual parts, because that's not something they were doing.
And they were never in any shots with like the main cast. Like they didn't film any of their scenes with the main cast. It was all done separately. And so kudos to the editing and all that stuff on it, because it's done so well. You don't even notice it. At least I didn't notice it, but maybe some people do. But it was it's so awesome. I mean, these are people that have been on the Ed Sullivan Show. I mean,
and high above, the moon was new, and so was love. To shake a hollow water singing, lover, where can you be? You came across a happy state, the lady's past, you've gone away. This aching hollow water singing, lover, come back to me.
They are huge.
My most recent eBay search was for their.
Oh, nice! I love it.
I was like, Craig, my birthday. This is going to be a good thing.
I was looking at stuff on eBay too, because I really want just like a nice little black and white photo of the two of them in their outfits to just frame and put on my mantle or something.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
They're beautiful, tiny women.
They are, and
that's what they say in the movie.
They are beauties. But and I know we get like different versions of them. I know Ebera, they have the one-off ones. I forgot the name of.
Sure, their names change
the
a
Cosmos
little bit.
And the Heisei and the Rebirth. That's what's the Elias or whatever in the Rebirth.
And sometimes they're not actually twins, but
that version they were definitely not.
Yeah.
But in the original short story, there was 4. And I think they're called the Ailenas or whatever. There were 4 fairies, and that would have been crazy. They'd have had the two Ito sisters, and then like film them again. That would have been really crazy.
I'd love to read that original story. I wonder if there's any translations or a way to get a hold of that, or if is it just a short story? Was it a book? Was it like a novel? Did it exist? Is it hard to find? I want whatever that is.
So it's common. Godzilla did this as well. In the 50s and stuff, where they would do stories and serialize them, right? And they would be like original stories. And like you see, the Godzilla one was always done, like a manga of that was done in like Shonen Weekly. I mean, like, that toy I have, of the guy, the little boy, and the Godzilla. Yeah. Well, so this was a story that was written to be serialized in a weekly magazine called Asahi Weekly, or Asahi Weekly, and they was released in there. I don't know like the length, how many episodes or issues it was. I don't know any of that. I believe though they did re-release it in Japanese as just the full story, and I think it's like considerable size. I want to say it's probably at least a novella, but I could be wrong.
I'd love to get a hold of that. We're gonna look that up.
Yeah, find that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Do some fairy research.
Put on Tokyo Toy Town. And I'll give you a discount. But it's I don't know. I feel like, to me, like, all of the other actresses that played the Shobajin in their many iterations, great. But it's always going to be the Itos. It's always going to be the Peanuts to me.
Sure.
Like, it's just like, there's something about their innocence, and like they fit in with like that. Because if you think like the cosmos, and like there's more like a celestial, like almost like galactic type feel to them. Like these are like primitive. They fit in primitive native island, and they fit and they work. And I don't know. It's just casted so beautifully, and it worked out perfectly.
They become a little more those characters come a little more silly, I think, later on, and the way they're I think the way they talk in some of the films, where they're everything they say, they're saying
in
at
unison.
the same time. Yeah, it's all in unison, and there's something about that in the later films that comes across differently than it does in this movie. I don't know. They feel a little more vulnerable, and like you feel bad for them a lot in this film, and you want to help them, and then sometimes in the other movies you just want to be like, shut up.
It's a tired.
In this movie, have fantastic costume changes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They have great costumes.
Yeah.
Abby, we should hey, for DragonCon, we should be them and like wear the identical outfits, but it's me and you, with the hats.
Dude, I'm that's all I want.
I'll be like, what? We're identical.
Yeah. Obviously. And I'm gonna come and I can be Nelson.
Yeah, you can Nelson. We'll summon Mothra. We'll destroy
Craig will be Mothra.
Okay.
Larva form.
That is so accurate.
We'll just have a big cocoon around him. It'll be amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Well, one other thing we're speaking of actors. So, and Abby, I know you probably don't know this, but Jake does. My favorite of all the Toho actors, it's not Takarada, it's not Harada, it's not Sahara, all the big guys. My favorite is, well, he's pretty big too, is Oroshiko Zumi. And he's the lead in this. And he always plays kind of a straight man, right? I mean, he's always just kind of like middle of the road. He's not going to be your huge hero like a Takarada.
He's who the two journalists bring in. Is that correct?
Yeah.
He's
hot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What do they call him? I forgot
the newspaper guy. The guy
he
who's
looks
like,
all
doesn't
like
want
scruffy in that one scene.
Yeah. Well, I forgot what the scientific, but anyway, he's like a linguist and a whatever.
That's a good actor.
A primitive ologist. But yeah, so I mean, he's in tons of movies and stuff. And Chujo I love the character. He's just one of my favorite ones, and I think he plays just like a very believable, like, you know, it's no highs or lows. It's always like he's always going to deliver a good performance. Though I've heard a non-kaiju role that he did called The Last of the Chrysanthemums is this like really amazing film that I gotta seek it out.
You gotta check that out.
It's like one of his best films. Anyway, I love Chujo, and I love the fact. Thank you, Toho, that this was in 1961. In 2002, for Tokyo SOS, they bring Chujo back and connect 1961 Mothra to Tokyo SOS and Millennium Godzilla. I absolutely love it, and he's great as like Grandpa Chujo as well. But I just feel like he's perfect for this role because I feel like it's a little bit of the Alan Grant thing,
begrudging,
where you don't want to have a superhero lead in this because you want the fantasy element, the just kind of those huge moments with Mothra and the island. That needs to be the center stage, and the over the top villain, like you need that. And if Koizumi is like a just amazing hero, just soldier or whatever, I think it takes away. I think the fact that he's just a normal dude,
it keeps it grounded,
yes.
and his acting style is grounded. And I think it allows the Peanuts to shine as the Shobajin and stuff. And I just think that was another great piece of casting on Toho's part to put him in there. And I think this is one of his best roles. And I love the character of Chujo.
Yeah, I love that. It's less like dick measuring and more just like just beautiful and yeah, that's how that feeling is something that I really like in this movie. And that performance adds to it, just being like, oh, I don't want to be here, but I'm here. I'm not the big military guy kind of thing. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think the more over the top character. I mean, you have Nelson, who's so over the top.
Nelson's,
I mean, you see him, you're like, bad guy. Like there's no hiding it, right? It's like
he's like just shooting natives. Yeah.
God, that part where they're just shooting the natives. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I wrote
oh,
this motherfucker is just straight up
Okay.
shooting all the natives.
wow,
I know.
cool.
And then on the good guy side, on the protagonist side, you have I forgot what's the character's name, but the one that that Frankie Sakai plays from Shogun. I know him from the miniseries Shogun, but he's a goofball or whatever. Like he's kind of like the comedic element, and you get that honestly. Like go back and watch 54 Godzilla, Rodan, and Varan leading up to this. You don't get as much like you might get some funny one-liners in the dialogue, but you don't get as much like kind of over like in your face like comedic moments like the fight or even like the newspaper scene, right? And I feel like that element is what takes Toho from those more serious movies to the golden era of Toho.
I was going to say like the Showa era is full of that stuff.
All the little hijinks and costume changes. I love that.
Yeah, and I think that was the bit of spectacle they were missing that took it. That
like
took
that
it from
kid that's in the chicken costume at one point.
getting held up with a corn cob.
Yeah.
Or even I think of Kumayama in Mothra versus Godzilla and him and the egg and saying like, I will pay you. We're measuring the how many regular eggs make this one in his zaniness. And he actually. Yoshifumi Tajima actually has a cameo as a military man in this movie as well. But anyway, I felt like that is like when you have the kaiju in the late 50s that are great, and you have all the right pieces, and then once they interject that little bit of like just kind of lighthearted comedy and don't hide it, I think that's what makes it. Then you get King Kong versus Godzilla is the next film after this. Super zany.
Which is fucking silly as shit. Yeah.
And then you have Mothra versus Godzilla. You have Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. You have Invasion Astro Monster. And it all just starts working. I think we owe a lot of that to Mothra 61. I think it was the first one to really do that. And another reason that this movie is just so important and wonderful.
Yes.
I agree with you. And it's definitely like it's definitely like an interesting, fun start just to Mothra's entire career, and like I feel like you do get people who maybe don't know or haven't seen as many films. If they see something with Mothra in it, Mothra kind of gets made fun of a lot. Which I understand, but it's like, hey, go watch the original Mothra. Yeah. And
wait till she cocoons, bitch.
and Mothra in GMK, she kills all those asshole teenagers, but does not kill the dog. She does not kill the dog.
Yeah, right.
But
I like that.
the other thing, Abby, I'm curious to get your take on this. So the one piece I think of this film that gets talked about and I don't want to say that people think it's a miss, but they think like it might be too on the nose or whatever, is like the end is it's not so subtle of a cross, the religious imagery and like.
I was reading. There's like Catholicism. Somebody was deeply religious that was working on this.
A.G. Subarai, the special effects director, was.
I drew that little symbol in my book, and I was like, "This looks so much like a cross."
And then in Rolisicans, they have all these church bells, like apparently everywhere in Newkirk City, obviously kind of westernized.
Newkirk City.
America has all these churches, right? Right. So I'm curious, like. You have a your own personal take on religion and the good and the bad and the indifferent. Like, I was curious, like, did you feel it took away from the film that it was this potentially perceived as? I actually don't think it was, but like this potentially perceived as overt, like over the top, like in your face, on the nose, whatever you want to use. Like, we won because of the cross, the religious element came in there, cooperation through religion as opposed to necessarily cooperation through another means. Did you think the imagery was too much on the nose for religion, or could you?
I see what you're saying. I think it was just. I think it could have been maybe more time put into the design of it. Like I don't think that at no point did I get that messaging, and if I had, I would have been like, "Fuck this movie, I'm not really so into it." I take the movie on the whole, like which is. Just the act of having two females like that have a connection to a female deity like that is so anti-Judeo-Christian to have like women in that role and to be respectful of them, etc. And to be admiring of their beauty. So no, I didn't feel that way at all. I did think that the symbol looked like it needed like a once over, maybe like crowds, whatever. Show it to a couple more people. Give another pass. Because it's very like, yeah, it's very basic, etc. I think maybe if they just switched that, it would have been not maybe like less people would have grievances over it, and it didn't make me at any point like I didn't feel uncomfortable or like this is ruining the movie, because the movie that preceded all that was really good.
Yeah, and I think
I agree.
To me, it was an interesting choice. The design it could have been okay. The scene with like the church bells and the cross on top of there, kind of overlaying it, I thought was, that I think is really what gets a lot of the negative press, if you will.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like to me, I'm the same way. Like I view it as like we are achieving cooperation through and success through cooperation by not being greedy assholes. The end. Like that's it. Like you don't need.
I always give the church cross scene a little bit of an eye roll, but the reason it doesn't bother me is because it's like that's it. There's no other point in the movie where they're trying to push. Yeah. You know what I mean? If it was throughout the movie, then I would hate it. But it's just that one little thing at the very in the very end, kind of. So it's like it is a little weird when you see it, and it's like all right, but
it's not a thematic part of the rest of the movie.
Exactly.
And to me, I agree 100% with everything you guys said, and I also give them an extra pass because you think about it, in 1961, the Japanese moviegoer watching this, when they think of America, like they probably think of lots of churches. And remember, New Kirk City is a thinly veiled America, right? And so, like, I think they probably was almost even more of a commentary on like the silliness of that. And so, like, of course, we're just going to randomly hold up this symbol. It's going to be next to a church because there's a church on every corner.
Yeah,
right?
that actually kind of makes sense. And it's like, and the church is going to take all the praise for this happening. Kind of.
Give us long enough. Give us long enough, and we will make sure that this is a opposite satire on religion.
Oh, we'll co-opt your thing. That's the church.
But I don't know. I think this movie has a lot of layers, or it has no layers. If you just want to enjoy it, it's just a simple, fun.
It can be. You can look at it either way, which is my favorite kind of movie. It's like you don't have to fucking look at that stuff if you don't want to.
Yeah. So one other thing I wanted to say about this that has nothing to do with the film. It's a funny story I heard, and I had to fact check it, and it is legit. So I heard it a while back, and I was looking up when we were watching the show, or when we were preparing for the show, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is real." So the distribution deal for this movie was with Columbia Pictures, and they originally the final Nelson was going to get his comeuppance by falling into a volcano. Like he was going to kidnap Shinji again and hold the kid, and Mothra was going to flap the wings, and somehow Nelson fell in a volcano and died. Columbia came back and said, no, we want it to happen in like a city, and like have like the Rolisican government do the right thing and shoot Nelson and stuff. So, but they filmed some of it, and they used obviously a dummy to fall into this area, this ravine or whatever, where they were filming the volcano scene. And apparently they left the dummy there, and locals of where they were thought it was reported as a suicide. And apparently Ashiro Honda and them got a little slap on the wrist from Toho executives.
That's
for
crazy.
Being so
stop
sloppy.
leaving bodies around.
Could you imagine that?
Freaking out. Yeah.
I mean, they're probably. I can only imagine where they were filming this was probably in the 60s, like probably some very rural Japanese area, and they're just like, what the hell is that? Somebody jumped off the ravine again. Bob, so I thought that was a funny little anecdote from this film that people don't talk about a lot, but I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's heartwarming.
Yeah, a heartwarming fake suicide.
Yeah, it's just not. Nobody got hurt. It's okay.
I know. Yeah, just the dummy. Yeah, so it's I don't know. This movie's great. Everybody go watch it.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Just go watch it.
It'll make you want to watch more stuff.
Guys, do you have any
$4 on more movies? That's what I've been doing on Amazon.
I mean, I could just let you borrow them. This one was a little bit of a last minute thing, and I was like, well, I can't get you this copy, Abby.
Oh, dude, it's good. I like finding
but you watched. We'll end on this, Abby. You watched the first Rebirth of Mothra. You enjoyed it.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
It was like.
So you're gonna finish that trilogy out?
Yeah, absolutely. Although Jay is making that face, and I know that they don't get any better.
I like Rebirth. The one that you watched, I like. I do. I really do. I think it's fun and it's great. And
There's
it's
like Spielberg notes and like
Yeah,
the
100%,
family
like-
story. It's the 90s, so the parents are having trouble. By the end of it, Mothra gets them back together. The kids stop fighting.
100%.
The Earth is saved. It's green again.
The second one is where
which one is the second one?
the with Dagra, the water one with all like the weird
Dagra.
spores and the little what's his name? Gorgo, the little miniature looking, I don't know, puppet guy.
Okay,
whatever,
but then the third one's
not bad.
The third one has
Cretaceous
King Ghidorah, and that Cretaceous King Ghidorah is
Killed all the
one of
dinosaurs.
it's one of the but it's one of the best. That King Ghidorah design is amazing.
Yeah.
I think most of the creature designs are pretty great. I Rainbow Mothra is one of the best fucking Mothras. The way she has the black and white instead of on her body. The weird Aqua Mothra is cool.
I have to see that. Okay, I'm moving. I'm definitely gonna watch.
Yeah,
I like
you'll love them. The designs are
pink
great.
Mothra that the twins ride.
Ride on, yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's like fairy Mothra.
The little fairy Mothra, which there's.
I love that design.
There's a fairy Mothra in Godzilla versus Space Godzilla as well. I think it's different, but
they try to get that loose tie into them. Yeah,
Fairy Mothra does come back, and Fairy Mothra is cute. He's got a big head.
Yes, super
Yeah.
soft plush.
And
You just want to hold and hug.
I'm curious, like, what your thoughts on Mothra as you get to Mothra Leo, who's
male.
You take away the female element.
Yeah,
I'm curious, like, but I just can't stand the second film. I don't. There's maybe it's worth a rewatch to do the whole trilogy again.
Is it the monsters or the acting characters? Like what?
All of it's the
design.
story. No, the Mothra designs and everything are fine, and the main villain Kaiju Dagra, like it's very immobile. But hey, everything in the '90s from Toho was immobile. It's like Space Godzilla, like you get this, that's it. Like so that doesn't bother me. It's like silly, but not in a good way. Silly, and to me, but like once again. I also like the first one. I like the third one. Maybe I need to rewatch them and give it. Maybe I was in a bad mood that day, but I usually like silly movies. But to me, like, give me Daigoro versus Goliath over that any day. I mean, it wasn't great.
It's definitely for kids. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Those movies are geared towards kids.
Yeah, 100%. And but like I said, a lot of the Mothra stuff is actually really great in it. And visually, nothing, no issue with it visually at all. I just think it's like, but. Once again, it's okay for us to have different opinions.
Yeah, totally. I'll take my Mothra, my like Power Rangers version of it.
It's very Power Rangers,
yeah, for sure.
Because you have it looks like Rita Repulsa, the sister of the two.
The evil
that
one.
Character with like the little puppeted dragon thing, like all that stuff. Yeah. For me,
it
felt
about the time.
like a treat.
Yeah, I mean, it also like Super Sentai is huge in the '90s, and Power Rangers in the U.S. Like that's where all the special effects were. I mean, it's not shocking that it looks the way it looks. And that's not the problem. Yeah, 100%. And it's hard. I mean, it's a Mothra trilogy. I mean, it was pretty bold move.
Well, it could be bad. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I think I like the underdogs in Kaiju. Whenever I come on here, I'm like, oh, yeah. So no one likes
Manda.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Manda. I like Manda. Someone's gotta like Manda.
Somebody's got
Nobody likes Manda.
I'll get a Manda tattoo.
Hey, Manda. The Manda are really great in Singular Point. The designs, the Manda design. I have to get further in that cartoon.
Yeah.
And hey, honestly, like the Manda design and like even the original Atragon isn't bad. It just sucks. So
the original Manda is great.
Yeah.
The Destroy All Monsters Manda is a piece of shit.
The worst.
It's like
And on that note,
nobody likes Manda.
I think we are.
Manda.
I'm gonna give Abby the last word here.
Somebody's gotta love Manda. That's it. It's me. Give some love to the lesser loved characters. They need it. They're great. Come on, have an open mind. I feel like I'm doing something. I like the unloved things because I think they deserve love.
It's great. It's great.
He has the Jar Jar of Kaiju.
Manda deserves. I like Jar Jar. Manda deserves some sort of. It is a living being, so it deserves love. Abby, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
thanks for doing this for almost 2 hours and indulging us and watching movies with us. It's fun.
No, I love this. This is like a deep dive. This is different from Toy Anxiety and YHS. It's awesome.
I don't know how to take that, but yes, it is.
Clearly, you can come back whenever. If there's a movie you want to do, if you finish all 3 of these Mothra films, me and Jay will watch all 3 of them, and we'll do a Rebirth of Mothra.
100%. We will.
I'd absolutely love to.
I'm going to make this statement right here, and it's ironclad. We will not review any Mothra movie without you on the show.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll give you a heads
Mothra
up.
must have.
Mothra, yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank
all
you
right, guys. I think that's it. Go buy a toy, watch Mothra.
Do it.
And nobody likes Manda.
Everybody. Somebody's got you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.